and welcome back to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And today I want to talk to you about some new Spider-Man PS5 leaks, aka Spider-Man 2. And I want to touch upon some points that we're going to be discussing in this video, and that is Spider-Man's PS5 leaks have surfaced online quite a few days ago. So let's touch up on some points. The first one, this is from an article at ccn.com. And the points I want to address are Marvel's Spider-Man 2 leak surfaced online. Developers at Insomniac Games will allegedly announce the game this summer in line for holiday 2021 release on PlayStation 5. And the leak reportedly offers the first details of the story, villains, and mechanics to feature in the sequel. And after I address those points, I really want to talk about my theories once again. I'm not going to go too deep into the theories because I already made a video about my theories. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave an annotation at the end of the video after this. So anyways, let's go ahead and read the article at ccn.com. And it says here that a new leak has surfaced with alleged insights into what Insomniac Games may be planning for a sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man, the hugely successful PlayStation 4 exclusive Marvel Spider-Man 2 leak. This Reddit leak allegedly reveals details about Spider-Man 2's story, villains, and gameplay mechanics. As these things go, the leak comes from the post on Reddit. Consequently, take it all with a pinch of salt. The leak claims Insomniac Games is aiming to reveal Spider-Man 2 this summer. A PlayStation 5 release is then on the cards for holiday 2021, more than likely in September to match the release window of the original. The game will retain the single-player roots of the first one with no online co-op. The action will shift to Brooklyn and Queens rather than Manhattan, super soldiers, villains, and Miles. Now, about the action shifting to Brooklyn and Queens rather than Manhattan comment, don't get that confused. Of course, we're going to have some action in Manhattan. I mean, this world is only going to be expanded upon. So before, in the first game, we can only explore Manhattan and no other parts of the city. But now we're going to be able to go beyond that and explore other regions of the New York state. So that's really cool. I cannot wait for this. This is going to make the world seem that much larger and expanded, and I cannot wait to see it on the PlayStation 5. Let alone, I cannot wait to see the graphics on this thing. I can imagine that it's going to look really, really good. So, set in the winter, Marvel Spider-Man 2's story allegedly starts approximately 5 to 6 months from where we left off from the first game. Protagonist Peter Parker has shacked up with love interest MJ, but she's away for the first act of the game. He's left mourning the death of his Aunt May. In tandem, Oscorp is up to no good again, trying to create a super soldier. Things go awry, botched DNA cloning spawns a horde of new villains. Among them, we have Harry Osborn morph into a Venom-like character, while Carnage and Mysterio also make an appearance. Now, if you recall my last video where I did a theory video on Spider-Man PS5, I said that perhaps Harry is going to be the first one to be in contact with the symbiote, which is evident to the post-credit scene where we see Harry with the symbiote, or whatever it is in this iteration of Spider-Man. He's going to be the first one, and he's sort of going to manifest like an incarnation of the Venom character, but not exactly be Venom. And then hopefully we'd get to see that symbiote pass on to Spider-Man and then Eddie Brock. So I think Eddie Brock might be the third candidate to become like a Venom spawn in this case. So aside from that, I just wanted to point that out real quick before I continue with the article. Erstwhile Venom incarnation Eddie Brock is also in the game, but with Osborn picking up the mantle as Venom, it's not clear how that dynamic will work. Like in the original, Miles, Spider-Man's would-be successor, has playable segments. This time around, Insomniac may let players roam the city as Miles, rather than stick to the linear set pieces of the first Spider-Man. The leak says players will be able to swap between the characters in certain situations. The leaker suggests Insomniac is reworking the web swinging mechanics entirely. There will be 3 distinct modes: realistic, arcade, and hybrid, with varying degrees of realism. Now, I wanted to touch upon that a little bit. The swinging mechanic is really good in Spider-Man. I think it's great, but obviously it could be improved upon. Every game could be improved upon, it's fair to say. But Spider-Man PS4 is an almost perfect game. That game is the greatest Spider-Man game I've ever played, and we can all agree on that fact. So, with that being said, the swinging mechanic can totally be improved upon, and I'm open to more variety as far as swinging goes, and I cannot wait to see what Insomniac delivers in the sequel for the swinging mechanic, and I'm pretty excited for that. So anyways, let's go on and continue here. They've gone all out on the animation tech this time, so we won't see the same animation as much. More variety. Not only are they bringing the animations from PS4 over for the swinging release, they are adding many more. They have like 2 animators devoted completely and solely to the web release animations throughout the entire development cycle. While neither Sony nor Insomniac Games have officially announced a sequel, it's more of a case of when than if. Critics and players alike praised Marvel Spider-Man for its expansive open-world take on New York City, a thrilling narrative, and an extensive arsenal of combat-focused gadgets and skills. The game's success was such that we saw Sony acquire Insomniac Games and bring it under the Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios umbrella. The leak remains unsubstantiated, but the reported details appear to fall in line with what we could expect from a sequel. If genuine, we only have to wait a few months for Insomniac Games and Sony to make an announcement. Now, if I had to speculate when that announcement can be, like this article stated, I think it would be sometime in the summer. Perhaps maybe late July, late August, if not nothing much later than September. So you let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for the Spider-Man PS5 sequel? And what other mechanics would you like to see introduced in the sequel? We already touched upon the swinging mechanics, and as far as the theories, I only can say I've briefly touched upon how Venom will first appear. I think obviously Harry Osborn will be the first one to manifest, a symbiote spawn-like character resembling that of Venom, make contact with Peter Parker at some point because Peter Parker and Harry Osborn are best friends, and then at some point when Peter Parker makes contact with Eddie Brock in some way, a piece of that will latch onto Eddie Brock, manifesting the Venom character that we know and love. And if Carnage is going to play a role into this video game, I want to see what kind of role he has, and I want to see how he's created. Because remember, this version of Spider-Man, this incarnation of Spider-Man, is very much different than the version that we know in the comics, Earth 616. This takes place in a very different Earth. This is a different version. All the villains and characters have different origins, but yet are very familiar to the well-known grounded Spider-Man that we know from the comics. With that being said, guys, that's pretty much what I've got on the Spider-Man PS5 leaks and rumors. You let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you want to see in the sequel. And with all that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so you all don't miss anything. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel.